And joining us, as advertised, as promised, Greg Hemphill.
Yeah, hello, gentlemen. Hello, Ross. Hello, Nightmare. I hope you're both well.
Absolutely. Great. It's been a while since we've chatted. Almost like a year and a half, maybe.
Yeah, it has been a while, actually. My favorite online station. I've missed you guys. I've been wondering about you. I've been wondering how are you feeding your families? What's happening? You know,
we're basically been relegated to the soup kitchens and food lines, but other than that, it's fantastic. You and I have talked in the past about your love of the WWE and wrestling as a whole, and you have got something cooking like nobody else, man. This is awesome. Tell me about how. Well, let's talk about first how this came to be. You're closing the Kelvin Hall with this fantastic Kelvin Brawl, and you're doing a tag team match with another comedian, Rob Florence. Now, is this I'm guessing it's a grudge match, because from what I understand, you had somebody turn on you at the last wrestling event, how do you say that? The
Oran War on Byers Road. We kind of set Byers Road alight and brought all the glitterati down to the head of Byers Road. This beautiful gala night in this church. This fantastic cathedral, which we turned into a cathedral of wrestling. And Robert and I, Robert was a once good friend, and at the beginning of this process, a couple of years ago, Nightmare, we decided, that we had a shared love of wrestling, and it'd be fun to put something on. But of course, once you start down that road, things can turn a little silly pretty quick. Egos get involved, they get bruised. People get knocked down the pecking order. People start to bitch at one another. And suddenly, there we are at the end of the night, and one of my wrestlers has jumped off of my team and jumped onto his team. I guess maybe he thought, Burniston, Robert's show was still going. My show had been cancelled. Maybe this guy, Kid Fight, this junkie from, I don't know where he's from, somewhere in Glasgow, some shithole. Maybe he thought that Robert was going to, help him hit the big time or something. So he turned on me, and from then onwards, it was personal between myself and Robert. And I actually, I had a rush of blood to the head, and I attacked him in the ring that night. At the Oran War, and this is why we're having the second event, really, because it's personal this time.
Well, now the wrestler that switched teams, is that the guy that he's tag teamed up with?
No.
Okay.
Ross decided to tag team with a wrestler called Grado, a sort of internet sensation, if you will. I don't know if you're familiar with this phrase, internet sensation. To me, it just means a guy who can't get himself on TV. Grado's a guy who cuts around with a hat on his head that has his name emblazoned on it, I guess, so that when he looks in the mirror, he can remember what the fuck he's called. Because, you'll take one look at this guy and you'll realize that, his elevator doesn't go to the top floor, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. Now, I'm not one to... You know me. You've seen pictures of me. Ross has met me in person. I'm not the easiest on the eyes that I could possibly be, but at least there's a light on behind the eyes. Are you telling me that this guy is a +1 individual?
The guy's a fool, exactly. He's a knuckle dragger. He's a ham and egger. He's a bottom feeder. He's a carp. If he was a fish, he would be a carp. A garbage eater. Barely comes up for a little bit of light. He actually looks like a carp. The guy's a joke, and he's not good for Scottish wrestling. He's not good for Kelvin Brawl. But Robert's got some kind of undying loyalty to the fool, and he's picked him. I've got the Scottish champion, Red Lightning, and I don't intend to do a lot of wrestling, Nightmare. I got to be honest with you. I'm 43. I'm a comedian. I'm an actor. I don't want to get my face smashed in by anybody. So I'm going to be. I've sought professional help, and Robert's got himself a joke, and he's working out in his basement. He thinks he's Mr. T, or at least he says he is. But no, if I'm absolutely honest with you, though, I'm kind of fed up with the whole thing. I started this because I loved wrestling, and this whole Kelvin Brawl thing's kind of killed my love of it. If I'm honest, it's all left a bitter taste in my mouth. It's all, the whole experience is turning sour for me, and it's not just because of Robert's behaviour of late. I've had wrestlers emailing me in the middle of the night waking me up, calling me, Kaylee Ray, why am I not on the bill? Why aren't you using Joe Coffey? It's not a proper bill without Joe Coffey. And you suddenly see all these small people griping and moaning and bitching about why aren't they involved in the greatest night of wrestling. And I say to myself, I can see what happened all those years ago when William Wallace was trying to unite this country and the Lords were all bitching and backbiting and backstabbing. Sometimes I think to myself, Scotland's a very small place, and the wrestlers over the last few weeks have shown me that. And Kelvin Brawl for me is just all I care about now. The light at the end of the tunnel, the glimmer, the reason for it to be, the raison d'etre, is that I'm going to get a chance to humiliate Robert Florence. Everything else can go fuck itself. I'm absolutely pig sick of every last one of them. I want to do this show and I want to get the fuck out. I want to get out of wrestling. Who knows? Maybe I'll get out of Scotland. But they've sickened me. They've sickened me to my very, very soul.
Is there any way that you're going to feel better with a win, or is this going to be just such a soulful hurt that you really are going to end up moving to London or something?
I don't know what will happen. There's a lot going on here. Emotions are running high. Kelvin Brawl comes at a time when Scotland is being forced to ask itself what is its identity, and the people are coming up wanting. They're afraid. Their default setting is no. We want to just be England's little poodle. We want to live in its shadow. And I think what's happening with Kelvin Brawl is an extension of that for me. It's kind of, I'm seeing a lot of fear, I'm seeing a lot of smallness, and I don't like it. That's not why we set it up. We set it up as a showcase, as a spotlight for great talent. And you lift a rock, and when all you see is worms and maggots, then your soul is destroyed and your spirit is crushed. And I have to say that the whole experience is going south for me right now.
Well, that does sadden me a lot, because I know you've been a wrestling fan since you was a wee tyke, and it bothers me a little bit that this function could cause this much trauma to you. Now, have you been doing any training to get in shape?
Well, it's a tag team match. I have a very, 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 very solid competitor by my side. Very, very reliable, very, very professional. And I picked him because I wanted to be pragmatic Nightmare. I wanted to have somebody by my side who would do the heavy lifting for me. And if I need to be the brains, I'll be Lex Luthor, he can be Superman, and he can get all the glory. I'm not in this for glory. I'm not in this to pretend, to fool around and to have my night as a wrestler. I'm not a wrestler. I never have been and I never will be. I know my place and I know my role and I know my skill set. I think the problem with Robert is that he's wanting everybody to believe that he's going to step into that ring and kick my ass, and he's going to be picking up his teeth once Red Lightning gets a hold of him, and then I'm going to go in and I'm going to go for the pin and I'm going to get all the glory. It's going to be a bad night for him.
That brings me to something I wanted to ask you about the contract, Greg, that you signed. Like any other official match, you have to sign a contract, but it took a turn for the worst. What happened?
You set these things up and you want to try and draw a positive vibe. You want to sort of bring good vibrations to the event. You want to put a nice spin on these things and bring along some journalists. And then, there's always some clown who's going to hijack these things. There's always somebody who's ready to reduce it to rubble and to turn it into a farce, to turn it into a circus. And Robert chose to be that clown, He was the guy going about in the unicycle with a bucket of confetti, He wanted to make it all about him. He attacked me, he made me look pretty foolish. It doesn't matter. It's all grist to the mill. It's meat and drink to me. It's just made me more determined to humiliate him on June 21st. It's, these things happen. There's a lot of shit talk, a lot of smack talk at these things, and this event was no different, I guess. Tension is running a little bit high, and I don't mean that in some capacity as some carny huckster trying to sell tickets. I mean, we were once friends and now we're not, and we have to go along to these things and be civil to one another because we're trying to organize something fantastic, and it's becoming increasingly difficult. It's like the wheels are threatening to come off it every day.
I got a question for you concerning the date of your brawl. I noticed that it is on June 21st, a date that most people associate with the first day of summer. But did you have any other concepts behind this date? Because as an old Scottish family, I've done some digging in your lineage, and I understand that your family was one of the strongholds that helped stop the Viking scourge of the the 3rd century. So, is this a battle against heathens as well?
It's a very significant date. The battle against heathens is very, very poetic. I like that. I think we should maybe put that on the poster. But I think for me, June 21st signifies the longest day. It's the day in Scotland where we get the most light before the Earth tilts on its axis back towards the horrendous winter that we face ahead of us. And it's a day of sunlight, a day of reckoning, first day of summer, as you say. But also, it is going to be the longest day of Robert Florence's life, because he's going to have to get up in the morning and he's going to have to realize that for all the projects that he's walked away from, all the projects that he's announced and then not carried through, all the things he said he's going to do, this is one thing that he can't walk away from, Nightmare. This is going to be an eternal nightmare for Robert. On the June 21st, he's going to come to the Kelvin Hall and he's going to have to see this project through. And he doesn't often see projects through.
I have to address what Ross said, that I am very much team Hemphill, and I know I'm supposed to be, as a journalist, I'm supposed to be non-biased, but I can't help but back the man who, out of the blue, after a couple of tweets, decided to become a part of the Black Sky Radio family and friends. So you got my loyalty, and you've got my complete support on this, and I think you're extremely correct in having Red Lightning as your partner. Now, this guy's got his own belt. I mean, he's won the ICW championship.
That's correct.
Now, going into it, knowing that you needed to find a bruiser, was it hard to talk him into coming aboard?
It wasn't hard to talk him into coming aboard because he loves a fight. It's also the main event of the evening, and so we're basically, it's a gift for a brawler like Lightning. The man's a demon in the ring. He's a whirlwind. He's like the Tasmanian devil, and boy, can he talk. So basically, what we invited him to take center stage and partake in the destruction and oversee the destruction of Team Florence, and that's a gift for a wrestler like Red Lightning. He didn't hesitate. He just grabbed the gauntlet and accepted. And I'm very, very proud to have him by my side. I'm very proud to stand at his shoulder.
Now, speaking of which, I've only seen Lightning as on the interviews. I didn't do that much due diligence. I didn't go watch his matches online or anything. But is he a formidable sized man?
Red Lightning, he's a very quick man, a very strong man. He's very, very serious. He's just got a presence about him, and he can be lethal. And no, he's not a particularly huge man. He's not what I would call a juggernaut, but the strength that he has is immense.
Now, what kind of background does he have? Was he like a farm-raised man, or was he a self-made brawler from the streets of Glasgow?
I'm going to have to ask him that, because I don't know that much about him. I've only ever seen him in the ring. We don't see each other. I don't know about his family. I don't even know if he's got a girlfriend. I gather he's just had a baby, and I hope that doesn't mean that takes his edge away from him. I'm sure it won't, actually. Other than he'll be a little bit, maybe be more cranky when he gets to the ring. You know what I'm talking about?
Right, absolutely. Lack of sleep will make a man do that.
I just want you to understand that this event has crystallized down into one thing for me, and it's basically a chance to let Rob Florence take part in a really humiliating part of the Kelvin Hall's history. The end of its history, in a sense. One of my proudest achievements was to become rector of Glasgow University, and what that means, Nightmare, is that for 3 years I basically looked after the students at Glasgow University, the 20,000 strong community. And when my DVDs are in their piles and they're all busted up in the tape, my name will be etched on the building of Glasgow University. It's my greatest achievement. And I want that same history for Robert Florence at the Kelvin Hall. But I don't want it to be so pretty. I don't want it to be so happy as my beautiful thing at Glasgow University. What he's going to have at the Kelvin Hall is going to be a disaster. He's going to have to drive past that place for the rest of his life and know that he was the last man ever pinned, ever beaten, ever humiliated in the Kelvin Hall. And that place has stood for a long time in Scotland's Madison Square Garden. And that guy, Robert Florence, is going to have to drive past the Kelvin Hall for the rest of his days. And he's going to have to look up there. And he's going to have to remember what happened on his last night, that he was pinned by me. That's all I care about. I don't give a fuck about Scottish wrestling. I don't give a damn about the other wrestlers. That is all I'm doing this for. That is all I care about. He's going to have to drive by that place, and he's going to have to look at his tomb. He's going to be enshrined in that tomb like a baldy fucking Glasgow pharaoh. It's going to be his Giza. It's going to be his pyramid. And he built it for himself with his bullshit.
We have a fan on the line right now waiting to talk to you about the Kelvin Brawl. Are you there, wrestling fan?
Hi there. Hi. I'm just a fan of Greg Hemphill. I'm one of Greg's fans. Hi, Greg.
Hi, man.
Do you recognise my voice, Greg? I'm going to sing you a wee song, Greg. Hark when the night is falling, hear the pipes are calling, loudly and proudly calling down through the glen. Well, the hills are sleeping, now feel the blood a leaping high as the spirits of the old Highland men. Towering in gallant fame, Scotland, my mountain hame, high may your proud standards gloriously wave. Land of my high endeavour, Greg, land of the shining river, land of my heart forever. Scotland the brave. That's how you appear on an international radio show, Greg Hemphill. You first of all stand up, recognise your nation, Greg. That's the first thing. You don't go talking about yourself. How you doing, boys?
I don't know who that is.
It's Robert Florence.
Greg, it's not a fan. He lied to my control board, and now I have to go fire some people. But apparently, your opponent, Robert Florence, is now joining us on the Skype.
Yeah, let's do this. Let's do this, Greg. Now that we know that you can't do any of your sneaky underhand stuff, you can't swing a punch at me. Let's talk.
Well, now, wait a minute now, Robert, because I watched the signing of the contracts, and I'm pretty sure I saw you come across the table first on that night.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me tell you something. You have got the wrong picture about Mr. Greg Hemphill here. You've got the wrong picture. I know he was maybe a nice guy to you last year, appearing on your show. And that's, he likes to appear like a generous man. That's what Greg does. Greg likes to appear like a generous man, very charismatic. A very charismatic individual. But there is a dark, dark heart in there, a very selfish man, a very bitter man. Now, he was the first man to attack me at Oran War last year at the ring at the end when I won. We shook hands. We shook hands. It was over. Our friendship was back on, as far as I'm concerned. And then he attacked me from behind.
Didn't you pay his wrestler a lot of money or give him some favors to change teams?
No. This is more. This is another myth from Greg Hemphill. No, this is Kid Fight. Kid Fight is the wrestler we're talking about here. He made a choice, and he made the right choice. Greg Hemphill's a nasty man. He's not a nice man, and the minute anybody gets to know Greg, after a certain period of time, they learn this. They realise this, that he's not a nice individual, and they want to be... Listen, see, for me, this show... Greg just said it isn't about the wrestlers for Greg, He's not interested in showcasing these wrestlers at all. But I just want to... that's why I've got Grado as my tag team partner, because he's an old friend, and he's an excellent entertainer. He won't just enter a match and go for the win. He likes to entertain the crowd while he goes for the win, you know what I mean? And that's what I want. I want to give people a good night. Because I think it's going to be an easy night for my team, I need to be honest.
Now, have you been training with Grado?
I've been doing a little bit of training on my own. I need to be honest, me and Grado have got quite a relaxed attitude towards training for this match. The one thing I do fear is Red Lightning. Red Lightning's a serious individual. You know, he's a champion, and it was. I will admit that it's a great choice by Greg to choose Red Lightning. If there's any man that I was going to worry about on that night, it would be Red. But you know, I'm just going to keep running. I don't think Red will even lay hands on me. I'm just going to keep running. That's my strategy. I'm not a fighter. Listen, I'm a lover, not a fighter. You know what I mean? So I'm just going to keep moving. That's my tactics.
Does that mean that there at the signing that you were just hugging Greg? Is that the lover part of that? Because it looked kind of like more of an aggressive fighting style.
Yeah, listen, I've got a few tricks up my sleeve. What I've done is I've focused on a few moves that I feel I'll be brawling though. I mean, this is why it's called Kelvin Brawl. We're not going to insult anybody's intelligence. Me and Greg, we're a couple of writers. We're a couple of writers, actors, comedians. You know, we can't learn to wrestle. You know what I mean? But we can get in there and we can swing a few punches. Now, Greg's a tall man. He's a tall man, but he's getting old and he's slow. You know, and I've never seen Greg swing a punch, really. You know what I mean? I've never seen him swing a punch. So I'm really not worried about him in the slightest.
Well, now, what do you have to respond to Greg's allegations that the Kelvin from June 22nd on is going to be nothing but a tomb of your painful memories of an ass beating?
Yeah, what is this? Yeah, no. I was listening to his last little piece there, his nonsense. Like, the Kelvin Hall is a special place in Glasgow. It's a really, really special building, and I can remember, you know, visiting that building with my dad, and I can remember visiting it with my family. I remember seeing, you know, going to see the circus in there. It's just a famous building, and I'll always have great memories of the place. And this is just going to be the icing on the cake. If you had told me when I was 10 years old that I would be in the Kelvin Hall in the last week of the Kelvin Hall's life, doing this thing in the ring, you know, to be, because this is a place where Jim Watt, a great boxing champion here in Glasgow, won his world title. So much history in this place. Even musically, bands like, you know, Jerry Lee Lewis, bands like the Kinks playing in there. It's just full of history, and to think that I'm going to be the one that's standing with my arm raised aloft alongside Grado at the end. It's emotional. I get emotional even thinking about it because.
Let me stop you right there, Robert. For Christ's sake.
Greg. Let me finish. Can you let me finish? When I think about my family sitting out, there in the audience watching me, getting my hand raised in the middle of that ring, and that is an incredible honour. You know, and a ridiculous honour, really. But you know, I'll take it. It's going to be a great night.
Grado is nothing more than a shaved fucking chimp, and he's a ball. Robert has lost about 7 stone in the last year. That's how he's prepared for this wrestling night, by losing about 7 stone. He looks like Hurricane Higgins about 3 weeks before he died. No, in fact, he looks like Hurricane Higgins' snooker cue. The two of them, him and Grado, look like the number 10. It's two comedians. There's not even a straight man amongst them. There's not a brawler, or you got an internet sensation and a has-been. I mean, you know, the two of them are a joke. You know, and Robert can tell you about the circus all he wants and how he's going to have great memories of Kelvin Hall. And he even called it a cake. He called it the icing on the cake. I mean, to me, that sums the man up. You know, he's thinking about food after all this time, and I'm thinking about pinning him. Now,
Greg, you've been quoted as calling Grado a glue sniffing junkie. Do you still stand by that?
Actually, I never called him that. I was referring to Kid Fight. The Benedict Arnold turncoat junkie, skinny bastard, total glue sniffing prick. That kid is dead to me, and he was a great prospect, you know, and he's put on a lot of muscle, and you know, he's actually fighting at the Kelvin Hall against the monster Johnny Moss in an England versus Scotland bout, and I've got England in my corner. That's how I feel about Scotland at the minute, you know. It's getting, the nation is getting smaller by the day, and I'm looking forward to getting this bitter taste out of my mouth, you know. Mm-hmm. Kelvin Brawl has turned a little bit sour for me, and I'm actually looking forward to Johnny Moss pinning kid fight. It's, you know, we're calling the bout England versus Scotland, but it's really a monster versus a junkie.
Wait a minute, now we're getting to it, Greg, right? Now we're getting to it. You're turning your back on Scotland. I mean, this is the thing. The minute I saw that you were putting Johnny Moss up against Kid Fight, as far as I'm concerned, he's a hero in Glasgow. Kid Fight is the essence of what Glasgow is. He's this tough man, and a tough real man for the streets. And the fact that you're putting this English veteran in there against him, you know, this is supposed to be a celebration this night of Scottish wrestling, of Scotland. You know, and you're just looking anywhere for a victory, Greg. You're looking anywhere for a victory. You've turned your back on Scotland. Greg, it's disgusting the way you've turned your back on Scotland over the past 6 months to a year. And the things I've heard you say, even the things I've heard you say in private, Greg, that I won't even repeat here for fear that you'll be all the papers tomorrow. And I've got too much respect for your family to do that. But the fact that you've turned your back on Scotland is the thing that disgusts me.
I'm really not interested whether you're disgusted on me turning my back on Scotland or not. It doesn't matter to me. It absolutely doesn't matter to me because I'm speaking from the heart. You know, I'm an organic kind of guy. These things, this is the way it's happened for me. You know, I agree with you. We set out to put wrestling on the map and to celebrate Scotland. And all we've had for the last 5 or 6 months is people bitching about why they're not on the card and all the nonsense that we've come away with and that all the assholes in your team. And I swear to God, it doesn't matter to me anymore. I want this night behind me. But I tell you something, all I'm looking forward to is hearing that referee count 1, 2, 3. And you're going down, my friend. You're going to go down.
Can I tell you what matters to me? Davey Blaze matters to me on this night. Wolfgang matters to me on this night. Nicky Storm matters to me. James Scott matters to me. Kid Fight matters to me. Noam Dar matters to me, even though he's not in my team. And Grado matters to me. Big Shamer going to be at ringside. All these people matter to me, Greg. This is what it's about for me. It's just going to be an extra little bonus. The fact I'm going to be standing over you and tell you, man, see when I see you lying flat, right? See when I see you lying flat and your flabby belly just spreading, that middle-aged spread just lying there before me. I'm going to pull out my phone, mate. I'm going to take a photo of you. I'm going to tweet it. I'm going to tweet it live to everybody, all of Scotland, all the UK, all the world. I'm going to tweet that photo of you lying on your arse when we put you on your arse. How we deal with red lightning, I don't know yet. How we deal with that, I don't know yet. But we will deal with it. And then I'll put you straight on your arse, big man.
I don't care what you say or what you do. I know that you've been doing no training. You tweet every 4 minutes. You've got something like 80,000 fucking tweets in, I don't know, about 4 years. And you've only got about 20,000 followers to show for them. What a shitty ratio that is. All I'm going to do on Kelvin Brawl is I'm going to direct my boot right into your glowing face, because you'll probably be tweeting during the match. You can't even go 10 minutes without picking up your stupid phone and tweeting something. And that's why I know it's all bullshit that you've been training. You've been down in your basement, chasing chickens, running up the steps.
No, do you know why I tweet? You want me to tell you why I tweet? Because I like talking to people. I like communicating with people, Greg. I like communicating with real people. I like talking to people like me. I like connecting with people. I like to be loyal to people. That's why Grado's there. That's why Shamer's there. Listen, Greg, you are a fucking Johnny fucking come lately, so you are. That's what you are. I've been mixing and wrestling in one way or another for years. And that's why Grado's in there with me. Because I knew him years ago when he was a young boy, when he was tag teaming in SWA years ago. And you just think you can come along now. You think you can come along now and come in and give it all the big I am. Greg, it sickens me. It sickens me because you're treated in this country. Nightmare, can I say this? This man, right, in Scotland is treated like a national hero. He gets treated like a national hero because he's fucking sitcom. Right? Because he's sitcom. That people always say, please, will you bring back the sitcom? And he fucking rubbishes them. He rubbishes them. He doesn't bring it back. He's not a crowd pleaser. He's all about himself. And he would never have had that sitcom. He would never have fucking had that sitcom, Nightmare. If his previous show, Chewing the Fat, wasn't successful, and I was one of the fucking writers, it's the dark secret in his past. And he knows it. That I facilitated his ride to that position as a national comedy hero. I made that happen. I made Greg fucking Hemphill.
Robert had about 2 jokes on Chewing the Fat, and let me just tell you something. Success has many fathers, failure has none. Robert has never done fucking talking about the fact that he had 2 jokes on chewing the fat. And let me tell you something else. He's never done talking full stop. He can say he likes talking to this and talking to that and talking to people and meeting people. No, Robert Florence loves to talk. And let me tell you something, Robert. Have you ever heard this phrase? The empty vessel makes the loudest noise. That's you, my friend. All you ever do is rattle like a fucking can with a stone in it. You sicken me to my core.
Greg, are you trying to say that this man has no character?
I'm trying to say that the man is a fucking vacuum. A vacuum. He's got nothing to say because all he ever does is talk.
Oh, my goodness. Now,
I'm sorry about this. I'm sorry about this, Nightmare. I mean, this is shocking stuff.
Well,
really. I mean, this is.
I'm still a little shocked, Robert, over some of the videos that I've seen on YouTube concerning the Kelvin Brawl at Kelvin Hall. You videotaped your mother saying that she personally wanted to hurt Greg Hemphill.
My mother, a beautiful woman.
Well, you got that right.
Let me tell you something about my mother. When I was a young boy, right, in North Glasgow, in Ballarnock, in North Glasgow, in Scotland, my mother used to take me here, there and everywhere, trying to encourage me to do better, to write, to act, to try all these different things, to try and improve me. And I owe it all to her. I owe everything to my mother, right? My mammy, my wee ma, I owe it all to her. And the fact that she had to open up a newspaper last year, Nightmare, had to open up a national newspaper and see this big fucking idiot choking me out. The first time he'd been in the newspaper for about fucking 4 years, by the way. The first time he'd been in the newspaper for about 4 years, and he's choking me. He's choking me out. That's a disgrace.
You listen to me and you listen to me fucking good, okay? I'm going to go up to the Comedy Unit tomorrow. The Comedy Unit, Nightmare, in case you're not sure, in case you've never heard of the Comedy Unit, the Comedy Unit produced Robert's show.
Will they let you in, Greg? Will they let you in?
My show, Chewing the Fat, and they produced my show, Still Game, that I wrote with Ford Kiernan. I'm going to go up to the Comedy Unit tomorrow, and I'm going to get your old ma's address, and I'm going to fucking go and pay her a visit and see how she likes fucking me paying her a visit. Going on the fucking internet and saying, I used to like Greg Hemphill, but I don't now. I think he's a prick. That's your mum. I'm going to fucking go and say, how'd you like that? How the fuck would you like that?
Do you realise what you're saying? Do you realise what you're fucking saying on radio? Do you realise what you're saying on radio? What people will record and what people will upload to YouTube and what people just heard you say? Do you realise that?
I don't give a fuck.
You've got no fucking awareness anymore. This is the problem, Greg. You've got no awareness anymore. We said, let's do a wrestling show. Let's have a bit of fun and do a fucking wrestling show. And it's come to this. It's come to this. You making fucking terrible career-ending mistakes, Greg. Career-ending mistakes like threatening an old lady on a fucking international online radio station. This is where we are. This is the lack of awareness you have now. This is what I call panic, Greg. It's what I call panic because you know you're in for a public, final humiliation on the 21st of June.
This is not about career or standing. My mind is like a crystal right now. I see with absolute clarity. You're finished, fella. You are absolutely fucking finished. You mark my words. June 21st, you're getting put in your tomb. Your cold stone tomb, my friend.
All right, gentlemen, let me step in here for just a second. I love where we're headed with this, but I want to take a few seconds back off, maybe cool down a little bit. I got a couple of questions that I want to ask you. They're the same questions, so we'll ask Robert first, and then Greg, you can answer the same question when he gets done with his answer. But I want to give the people a little more background on what's going on. So, Robert, would you say that your style of wrestling is who would be your the words I'm looking for, your mentor? Who do you style your wrestling after?
Personally, it's like I said. I mean, I'm not going in there to wrestle. I mean, the wrestlers I love are guys like Kenta Kobashi, Japanese wrestlers. They're the guys I love and the guys I respect. And because of that, because I love that level of ability, I'm just like, even last year when I knew this was coming, when I knew we were going to have to meet each other in the ring, I thought, I'm not going to insult anybody by trying to learn some wrestling moves. You can't do it. It takes years. It takes years, Nightmare, to even be able to step in that ring and bring 1 second of honour to yourself. So I just have to go in there and try and run and be crafty and do what I've always done, Nightmare, to be fair. Talk myself out of trouble, talk my way out of trouble, and be crafty and be smart, be streetwise. Streetwise smarts is what I'm going to use in the ring on that night. That's all I need. That's all I need to deal with Greg Hemphill. Just the smarts. That's all I need. I'm going to be running. People will see me run, and I'm going to be open about it. I will run. But if I see Greg Hemphill, then I'll move in on him. But while Red Lightning's there, listen, this guy is a serious threat. He's a smart man. He's one of the smartest men in wrestling, and I will keep running.
Now,
That's all I can do.
Greg, who would you bandy your style after?
Greg, who would you bandy your style? Let me tell you something, Nightmare, right? We just had a major discussion about the Kelvin Brawl on the 21st of June, right? Things got a little out of hand. Things got a little heated. And now you're coming back to me with these bullshit questions. Let me tell you something. You set me up today, my friend. You and I used to be good buddies. I used to be part of the fucking Black Sky Radio family. Ross, you absolutely stabbed me in the back. For ratings, I don't know what your ratings are. I don't give a shit. And you think I'm just going to go back to your stupid little questions about who I based my style on after the discussion I just had with Robert Florence, which you obviously orchestrated and you obviously engineered. You knew he was coming on here. You absolutely knew it. And you tried to make me look like a fool. And
Greg, why don't you just get through the rest of this radio show? Why don't you do that? Why don't you just get through the rest of this show? Because let me tell you something. I am trying to remain detached here, right? About the fact that you threatened my mother publicly. And I'm trying to keep detached here because I'm still sitting here stunned, thinking about what I do about this, Greg. Thinking about what I did. I don't know whether to just call off this whole fucking show tonight. This whole fucking Kelvin Brawl tonight. I don't know whether to pull the plug on it tonight, Greg. I need to be honest. Because I'm sitting here trying to process this, what just happened. I'm trying to process it.
You do whatever you have to do.
Greg, I'm a little taken back by your attack on my loyalty.
Yeah.
We started off the interview, and I told you I was Team Hemphill. You've been a fan of the show. You've been a friend of mine for a couple of years now. I am in your corner, but to attack me like that makes me wonder why. Or it actually doesn't make me wonder why. It basically tells me why your wrestler at Owen Moore attacked you. You're jumping on my back when I'm just here facilitating what I thought was going to be a pleasant interview. I didn't orchestrate this.
Listen to me, Nightmare. You don't come the innocent with me, okay? You draw whatever conclusions you have to, my friend. But I know that when I called up here in good faith, with good conscience, to have a discussion with you and Ross about this event, I didn't know that Robert was going to come on here and things were going to get heated and we were going to start shouting at each other and talking absolute shit to each other. I didn't know that was going to happen, but you knew what was going to happen, like some kind of fucking carny huckster trying to boost ratings. Don't think I don't know what was going on there, okay? I absolutely can see through your bullshit. You might be in Kansas, but I can see you as if you're sitting right next to me. And you too, Ross.
To be honest, Robert didn't think that you would show up if we said that it was going to be him calling, and he thought that you wouldn't want that to happen. But so we just invited him on, and we thought it was a good idea to just pretend he was a fan, just so that you would stay on, and I'm sure you're just angry, Greg. It just it's the emotion of the fight coming up. I'm sure it is.
You thought it'd be a good idea. You had the best laid plans of mice and men, eh, Ross? Huh? You thought it'd be a good idea.
Listen, guys, can I interrupt here because I just need to say one thing. Because I've thought this through. And Greg, let me just say this to you. See, on the night of the 21st of June at this Kelvin, see tonight you've crossed a line, and I thought you'd fucking crossed the line. You've invented a new line. You've came here with fucking ink pens in your pocket and you're drawing lines and you're stepping over them. And I'll tell you something, Greg. On the 21st of June, right, at Kelvin Brawl, and this isn't, I don't like this to sound like I'm doing one of these fucking ridiculous wrestling promos here. On the 21st of June, at the Kelvin Brawl, I'm going to fucking come for you. And I'm saying I'm running for Red, but I'm coming for you because the minute you said that tonight, it's beyond personal. It is beyond personal. It's a joke, and I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm not going to do anything about it. And even my wee mammy was saying, no, you don't have to contact the police about this. But maybe somebody else will make a complaint. I can't do anything about that. So if you get a fucking knock on your door tomorrow, Greg, that's not my problem. But the show will go ahead, and I'll see you in there on the 21st of June. I'm off this fucking show as well. I'm off a show, but I hope you guys realise now the type of guy we're talking about, the type of guy that comes on a radio show where yous are friendly to him. I was listening to the first part of the show, and you're talking about Greg's past and his history and his family past and all that shite, the Vikings and all this garbage, all this fucking fantasy Harry Potter bullshit. And you're being nice to this guy and paying him respect, and he jumps on your backs just like he fucking attacks everybody, he backstabs everybody. And I'm trying to do a fucking public service in Glasgow on the 21st of June. And that's it. I'm off. I'm sorry, boys. Hopefully we can talk again sometime.
Robert, thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome, man. I'll leave you with this fucking animal.
Greg, are you still with us?
I'm signing off in about 15 seconds, guys. I'm absolutely sickened by the both of you. I have to say, I'm sickened by your little trick tonight. I think it's a shit stunt. It's a cheap stunt. And I expected more from you. I expect more as part of as being part of the Black Sky Radio family. I think I showed you just how much I got under his skin there. I showed you how rattled he is, and I tell you something, that is nothing compared to how rattled his jaw is going to be on June 21st. I'm signing off. Okay, good night.
Good night, Greg. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Greg Hemphill, for joining us. A strange twist of events.
Pissed off each other, then they get pissed off at us.
I know. All we're doing is facilitating some well-deserved publicity, and I didn't know that. I didn't know that we were going to take things this far. So,
well, it's getting very personal now, isn't it? I mean, that was some shocking stuff there that was said, very deep and personal. And these guys used to be friends.
Yeah.
and I just wonder, is it professional jealousy between them that's causing this? Has something happened on a night out in a bar that we don't know about?
Well, and that's exactly what I was thinking about. I was thinking that these guys, they worked together in the past, they had some fun, they had some laughs. Is there a possibility that maybe one of the other's wives and or girlfriends is the other one's exes? Is there something that deep? I can only imagine. Or maybe there's a love child out there that they don't know exactly which one is the father.
No, I'm really shocked. But Greg's personality changed there really quickly. Now, again, is that a side of Greg that we don't know, we haven't seen before? Is that a side of Greg that Robert has seen?
I don't know for sure because I can't get into either one of these participants' head per se, but in the past, I know that when I've come across one of our loyal fans who seems to have an issue suddenly and has a giant change of direction in their loyalties and their likes and dislikes, generally it has a lot to do with the stresses that are put on them and the simple fact that maybe there's more to this than we know. And I think that's what we might have to do some more digging. You're looking at 37 days before this bout takes place. Maybe we can catch up with these guys on an individual basis and find out where the anger is coming from. If they will talk to us. I mean, I'm sure Robert will.
This is my fault because Greg did say before the interview that he wanted to do it separately. He only agreed to do it if it was two separate interviews. And so Robert knew that if we announced that they were coming on together, that Greg wouldn't participate, and it's just unfortunate. I didn't think it would end the way it did. I think it comes as a shock to me, and certainly a shock to hear Greg attack you.
I thought we were pretty tight, but apparently I'm just been lumped in with the rest of the backstabbing jackasses that has wronged him in his entire life. I don't understand.
One of the things that shocked me was you mentioned the video that Robert put up of his mum. Greg also put a video up in response to that video. He put a video up, a video message from his son, and I noticed that Robert didn't attack or make any comments about that, which shows some sort of respect, if you ask me. a respect that Greg didn't show. Which I don't know. I'm still a bit confused by it all.
Well, yeah, and I wanted to talk to Greg about his son's video, but man, after he started in on me, I wasn't sure that that was a box of worms I wanted to open up.
So after that, Team Hemphill, Team Florence.
I'm still a Team Hemphill man.
So Black Sky Radio, being loyal, Team Hemphill all the way. I agree. So Greg, we're sorry.
Whatever that we can do to make it up to you, Greg, let us know. We will never surprise you with another guest that you don't know about ahead of time. We apologize. Greg Hemphill, Robert Florence, Kelvin Brawl at the Kelvin Hall, June 21st. Get your tickets. Ticketmaster has them.